What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the first video on this channel. I'm super excited. My name is Carnivore Kurt. I'm gonna be your host. Now, this channel, as you probably might have seen the About Me section, is really about how to implement the carnivore diet in a common way, how to sort of go about implementing the carnivore diet into a lifestyle that can be sustainable and not overbearing. When you think about the carnivore diet, it's obviously very much comes with kind of a thought of restrictiveness and all of the things that come into being in a carnivore diet. This video in particular is gonna be about what the carnivore diet is and why one might wanna do it. So let's jump right in, because I know you came here to learn more about this, and I wanna tell you what this is all about. What is the carnivore diet? Well, the carnivore diet is basically an elimination diet where you eat just animal products. You remove all vegetables, all fruits, basically any plant molecules that you would normally be consuming, you remove. That includes spices, herbs, teas. You're basically going to just be eating what you would get from an animal, ideally nose to tail. Why in the heck would you want to do a diet like this? Aren't you just destroying your nutritional breakdown of what you're actually getting? Well, it turns out that we may actually be what's called a facultative carnivore as a species that we've evolved. If you look at the history of humans and you look at our sort of biology as we sort of evolved over millions of years, there is some studies out there looking at the nitrogen in the actual bones of human beings and seeing correlations where we ate larger amounts of meat and our growth in terms of a species, in terms of the brain size, and things like that. Now, this video isn't about the science of that. I think there's a great opportunity to talk about it in the future. But if you're looking to learn more about the carnivore diet, that's what we're gonna cover here, and really what it is and why you might wanna do it. Like I said, it's removing all plant toxins, all fruits, all vegetables, all spices, all herbs, all. You're gonna be eating just stuff you get from, basically from a farm. So for most people, that's gonna be things like steaks, ground beef. When we talk about a real carnivore diet and what it entails, it's really about the elimination. And it's really about finding a way to supplement in and get in through the diet, ideally not through just supplements, the nutritional profile and breakdown of what you would need as a human being to be extremely healthy and optimized in your body. There's two main reasons why you want to do the carnivore diet. One of the biggest reasons is there are a lot of diseases out there right now that we believe are linked to autoimmunity and people not reacting well to what they're putting in their body. When you think about your diet, it's got to be one of the most important things that controls your health and your vitality, because you're literally introducing into your gut, into your microbiome, the environment, in the sort of the substances that are triggering how you feel, how you respond, how you process your nutrients. So when you look at a carnivore diet, what we're looking at is plant molecules getting out of the equation. This idea that basically plants have oxalates, they have lectins, they have a toxicity to them, and plants don't necessarily want to be eaten. You know, when you go and you think about looking outside right now in your environment, it doesn't look like a supermarket where you go into the produce section and you see all of the fruits and vegetables that have been collected from all over the world. It's just trees, ferns, grasses, things that if you ate in a large amount, you'd probably feel pretty sick. But what would you eat in your environment? Well, you'd probably go kill the birds. You probably would go track down the rabbits, or if there were bigger animals out there and you hunted those, you could certainly eat them if you were capable of hunting them. And this is kind of what the carnivore diet's looking at. It's going, okay, the theory is that we evolved as a species primarily as carnivores. We could eat plants if we needed to, but in general, as we co-evolved with plants, plants themselves developed adaptive, evolved mechanisms to prevent predators from eating them. Now, if you look at fruit is kind of like nature's sort of delicacy, and in a way where I think plants have adapted a mechanism to actually invite being eaten, and that's to kind of spread their seed. But when we talk about vegetables and things like that, for the most part, when you look at the actual bioavailability and you look at how much of the nutrients you're actually absorbing from the plant molecules versus what you get as a side effect to the plant toxins and what the plant can do to you, the net is believed to maybe not be as beneficial. So this kind of leads us to another main reason why you would do the carnivore diet, and that's because it's a really powerful elimination diet. If you've ever had issues, I know for me growing up, I had a lot of gut issues. I would go out with my family, go to dinner, and I would come home and I'd be sitting on the toilet and everything would just run through me. And this is something that was affecting me from like age 6 or 7 up until I was in my mid-20s. And what I found is that certain things would agree with me, certain things would not agree with me. But as I got further along in my path and I entered into my early 30s, I realized that I was still getting these like anxieties and feelings of unease from the things that I was eating, even though I was eating a quote unquote super clean, healthy diet that was more paleo focused, lots of kale, spinach, things like that. By eliminating all of these things from your diet, you can see what triggers you. And you can actually see if when you introduce the items, they actually can be more beneficial or if they still affect you in a negative way. So the carnivore diet is one of the most powerful ways to do an elimination diet that focuses on getting the body the key ingredients and nutrients that it needs in order to basically optimize the health. So that's the main kind of 2 points there. You've got lots of toxicity naturally developed within plants to prevent them from being eaten for the majority of them. And you have our reaction to that stuff as being an elimination approach that we can take when we go on a carnivore diet. So let's do a quick primer on a couple of key points here. When we talk about our health and our vitality, a couple big terms that come up are gut health and inflammation. So our gut is our gastrointestinal tract. It's basically everything in our body that is used with our stomach and our liver and in our intestines to sort of process the stuff that we eat. Everything we take in from our environment, minus what we breathe air-wise, and it's what we feed in from our nutritional standpoint that goes into our bloodstream, into our bodies. And when you hear the terms like leaky gut, what they're referring to is basically things in the gut that are essentially breaking the seal of the gut so that stuff is leaking from your gut directly into your bloodstream. If you think about like a gut feeling, your gut when you're developing as a fetus, it actually develops before your brain. And your gut has over 100 million neurons, basically the largest connection of neurons outside of your primary nervous system in your brain that is concentrated in the human body. And so a gut feeling is actually a real thing. And there's actually a lot of research also about what's called the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve, where it's not just a nerve that goes from your brain to your body, but it's actually a nerve that has 2 pathways, one feeding from your mind down into your body, but also feeding from your body, from your gut into your mind. So when you think about things like anxiety, depression, some of these mental illnesses, there's a lot of thought that the gut and how healthy your gut is affecting so much more about your psyche. It's not just how you're operating and what your physical body is doing, but it's actually affecting the way you think, the way you feel at a very, very visceral level. So I mentioned leaky gut, and one thing I want to touch on again is that's when the seal, the membrane in your gut gets damaged or ruptured, and you have a break in the process of actually processing the food. And that can happen for a variety of reasons. For a lot of people though, it can be something that happens because they're eating foods that do not agree with them. And the foods are damaging their intestinal tract. And the theory here is that the plant molecules are designed not to prevent predation from staying healthy from eating them. So you get sick from eating them and it damages your gut. And then you have what's called chronic inflammation. It's a consistent state of being inflamed where your body is in a swelled state. And I would argue that a lot of people are in this state without even really realizing it. They've got inflammation in their body. And so when you see them and you look at society, a lot of people are they look like they're kind of swollen. They're really inflamed. And inflammation isn't a bad thing in and of itself. We need inflammation. It's a healthy process. But the body is not supposed to be constantly inflamed. It's supposed to inflame when you have something where it's an acute experience where you're dealing with healing it. So you inflame through bringing more blood flow into that area and bringing in blood cells to sort of attack an infection or treat what's going on there. And when that happens, it's supposed to repair that and then it's supposed to recover. But what you see is people are eating foods that continually damage their gut or continually react to their body, and they're constantly inflamed. And so you have these higher levels of inflammation, you have these issues that trigger levels of unease, and we're seeing that that can contribute to anxiety, to depression, to other things in the body. So a happy gut is really a big key to everything here. There's so many bacteria and microbiome stuff going on in the gut, and it's directly linked to your mind, and it's directly affecting how you feel and how you're basically recovering and the nutrients you're getting. And so it kind of makes sense that an elimination diet might be worth trying out for most people, just to see if what they've been eating for maybe years or all throughout their life is actually causing inflammation, is actually triggering them. And that's where this carnivore diet is so powerful. Okay, so to recap, what is a carnivore diet? It's a diet that eliminates all plant molecules. It's gonna eliminate vegetables, fruits, spices, sugars, essentially anything that is not from an animal. Why would you do it? You would wanna do the carnivore diet for a number of reasons. First of all, it's to help you identify what is triggering you. It's to help you see if maybe you feel better because you're not eating these things and, oh wow, all of a sudden you just feel much more just light, clear-headed, maybe your mood improves. You're just going to experience like elimination. Some of the theory around that is that plants can be inflammatory through causing leaky gut. They can be inflammatory through the toxicity that they've naturally evolved to develop, where they don't want to be eaten by humans or other animals as well. And those things like lectins, oxalates, glutens, phytic acid, all of these things, when they hit the human body in biology, we see things that trigger inflammation and prevent us from basically absorbing as much of the nutrients as what is available in the plants. So if you like this video, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let me know in the comments if you've ever tried the carnivore diet, if you're thinking about it, or if you have, and how long you've done it. So have you done the carnivore diet? Have you not done the carnivore diet? Have you been thinking about it? Have you tried it for a certain amount of time? So until next time, thanks for tuning in and thanks for watching.